Welcome to a special little episode of my Death Battle Cast rankings, where we talk about the beginnings of Death Battle Cast. They really didn't have their formatting or debate style down yet. They didn't even have a name. They were calling this unscripted death battles. They even said at the beginning of their first debate that every winner of the specific cast will be put into a tournament to find out who will be the strongest. That never happened, and I don't even know if it was ever brought up again. Without further ado though, let's talk about all of their kooky little matchups and how they debated. Starting with number 11. Raven vs. Beast Boy. They are both characters from Teen Titans that may or may not love each other. It's a same series matchup, so who really cares about connections? Sam represented Raven, but not really, and Ben represented Beast Boy, with their jury being the voice actors of both Raven and Beast Boy, with both of them acting kinda in character the whole time. My soul cringed a little bit at this, but like in a sweet way. All Sam mentioned was that Raven could contend with stronger opponents than Beast Boy. That's really it. Tara was the one who kept bringing up Raven's feats and contending with Ben. All Ben mentioned was that Beast Boy is connected to the red, so he can transform into animals, demons, humans, mythological creatures, or aliens. Ben argued that Beast Boy could turn into Superman, which I do kinda buy in a way, but I still don't think it would help him defeat Raven. It's kinda obvious to pick out a winner here. I mean, come on, Ben tried his best, but this was a debate he would never win. Raven scales way too high and could just kill Beast Boy instantly. She could manipulate his emotions, crush him, or just create a portal to another universe, one in which Beast Boy could not survive. I know when Ben mentioned how Beast Boy connects to the red, he could turn into either a dragon or a phoenix, but years after this cast, we saw just how useful a phoenix would be against Raven. So my vote goes to Raven here. I'm not a huge fan of same series matchups, which is why this is on the bottom of my list. Speaking of same series matchups, moving on. Number 10, Scarlet Witch versus the Phoenix. They are both characters from Marvel who can shake their universes and contend with their strongest forces, both naturally being good people who have been corrupted to do evil acts before becoming good again. Even though this is a same series matchup though, this has a way more fun debate. Chad represented Scarlet Witch and Ben represented Jean Grey. This is classic Phoenix Force versus Chaos Magic. Phoenix is a telepath on equal levels with Professor Xavier. She has telekinesis and is strong enough to wipe out whole solar systems. According to Ben, that is. Scarlet Witch can create force fields, shoot magic blasts, manipulate probability, warp reality, and has omniversal levels of power, according to Chad. He also brings up that Scarlet Witch has technically killed the Phoenix before, but this is heavily contested, so I'm sure there's a lot of context that's missing here. Ben brings up that Phoenix can alter time and events that happened in the past with only a thought, but Chad brings up that Wanda can protect herself from things like the House of Ideas, which is essentially how Marvel stories are made in the Marvel Universe. It's the will of the writers and anyone else using these characters to create stories, thereby altering their worlds. I think if Scarlet Witch can protect herself from that, she should be able to protect herself from the past getting altered. Wanda has also withstood getting hit with a machine created by Doctor Doom specifically made to kill her, so she's obviously tough. I just don't think she wins this debate. They both technically have control over time, but Phoenix is better. Obviously, Jean Grey has control of the Phoenix, and can even turn into the White Phoenix to gain access to the White Hot Room, where she can alter reality even easier and would most likely scale above Wanda in power. It could be a close fight, I admit it, but I think Phoenix wins at the end of the day. Number 9. Mercury Black versus Chun-Li. They are both people who use their feet, and, they both have dead dads? Man, I'm not sure why people wanted this matchup. It seems so strange. In this debate, Chad represented Chun-Li and Ben represented Mercury. So fun fact about Mercury for those who don't watch RWBY, he's got like nothing to his name. So we only really know a few things about him and every other part of his character is scaling. Ben brings up how Mercury should be faster for being a bullet timer, but Chun-Li scaling to the Darkstalkers would be much faster. Not to mention it would make Chun-Li much stronger than Mercury. Mercury has guns on his legs which he can use to propel himself into the air and shoot at people. But Chun-Li has dodged bullets while fighting before, so I really doubt this would do anything. Not to mention using Ki, Chun-Li can jump really high and most likely catch Mercury in the sky. Ben brings up the fact that Mercury blocked an attack from Yatsuhashi, which completely crumbled the ground under Mercury. Ben brings up that Chun-Li has created craters and disintegrated objects with her Kikosho, so I'm pretty sure she's stronger, although Mercury having a shield made of aura could probably take a blast or two. What makes the victor really obvious is not only the meteor feat that Chun-Li scales to, but that her killing intent can identify a person's weakness and kill them with just a touch. She uses this to kill both Bishamon and blow a hole in the universe, according to Chad. Although the whole blowing the hole into the universe feat needs a lot of context. Chun-Li wins hands down in my eyes. It's not even a close contest. If you're gonna have a RWBY character on the show, please let it be one with actual content to talk about, because Mercury is just boring to me. Number 8. Aquaman versus Krillin. They're both the characters in their own universes that the fan bases clown on but are actually pretty powerful in their own right. These connections for these matchups are pretty bad, huh? Liam repped Aquaman and Ismahawk repped Krillin. This was such a one-sided debate, but I enjoyed the back and forth a lot. Obviously, Aquaman is much stronger and much faster than Krillin, but that doesn't mean that Krillin has no advantages. Krillin can fly and is generally a really good strategist in combat. Plus, attacks like his Destructo Disc would work on Aquaman since it can cut a character as powerful as Frieza, someone who is much stronger than Krillin at the time. Although Nervous Snake brought up that Krillin should be much stronger than Frieza was back then. Probably even more so now. But that's where Krillin's advantages end. Krillin can't keep up with any of the Saiyans, while Aquaman can keep up with Martian Manhunter and Wonder Woman. Aquaman has mental manipulations to control the minds of people, animals, and sea creatures. Ismahawk brought up that Krillin could have mental resistances, but all of his arguments like him being a Buddhist seem like a really big stretch to me. Aquaman also has complete control of water, can create force fields, and potentially has control of lightning. If Krillin gets dragged into the water, he's done for. The ability they obviously found the most important was Krillin's solar flare. If Aquaman can be blinded for just long enough for Krillin to use his Destructo Disc, then Krillin could take home a win. But Leah mentioned that Aquaman has fought while blind before, using telepathy to predict oncoming attacks and dodge. With this, Aquaman has the win no doubt. Poor Krillin doesn't stand a chance. Number 7. Marceline versus Raven. Both are powerful women of half-demon descent. Both have powers tied to their emotions. Both lost their mothers when they were young and their fathers are evil demon overlords. They both have connections to non-human princesses. Both were loner-type characters before loving people broke them out of their shells. And they both had to contend with their own past evils and defeat their father figures as a show of their own humanity. Finally, some really good connections. I'm sure the debate is just as good. Marceline was repped by Billy and Raven was repped by Ben. For these 4 months, Ben was repping the loser, so it's nice he finally gets a winner here, even though Billy went really hard in the beginning. I didn't realize until halfway through that Ben was repping specifically Teen Titans Raven, but the winner doesn't change. To be fair, Billy brings up a lot of things that could give Marceline the edge. She can absorb and rip out souls, turn invisible, transform her body and transmute objects, has pyrokinesis, has necromancy, and is so durable that she can be cut in half and survive. They both can do things like telekinesis and control minds. Well, I guess Raven controls emotions more so than minds, but it still counts. And they can both fly. The problem comes from the fact that even if Marceline mind-controlled or transmuted Raven's body, her soul self would be unaffected and could realistically obliterate Marceline. Scaling-wise, I'm pretty sure Raven scales way higher. Not to mention she can create force fields, phase through walls, read minds, and teleport themselves to Azeroth where the sun is always shining. Well, Marceline, even though she has a weakness to the sun, does have SPF 1 million, so I doubt the sun would do anything to her. Raven just out-haxes and outscales Marceline. Marceline could suck the color out of Raven's gem, but that wouldn't do anything. Raven has everything she needs to put Marceline down for good, no matter how sad that would really be. Number 6. Akuma versus Shao Kahn. They are both evil fighting game characters who are known to be bullshit final bosses. They both can destroy souls, and both seek out violence, although for different reasons. I'm not a fan of Street Fighter vs Mortal Kombat, so let's make this quick. Chad repped Akuma and Liam repped Shao Kahn. They didn't debate this too much, but here are the standout points. Shao Kahn has telekinesis, can reflect Akuma's fireballs, and could absorb Akuma's soul. Akuma can destroy souls with a raging demon, turn intangible, and can destroy giant meteors. No matter how hard Chad tries, Akuma doesn't win this. If you let Chad use Asura's Wrath, Liam gets to use Mortal Kombat vs DCU, which would tip the scales even further. They did this episode and Shao Kahn won, and I agree with that result. Number 5, Bumblebee vs Baymax. They are both robots? I'm pretty sure that's the only similarity between their characters. In this debate, Ben repped Bumblebee and Chad repped Baymax. I think this was a pretty good back and forth. The biggest advantage that Bumblebee has is his knowledge. Bumblebee has access to pretty much any amount of information he can find, meaning that Baymax would always be on the back foot. Bumblebee also has a large assortment of weapons at his disposal, while Baymax only really has a laser sword. Baymax has chips that he can use to fight better though, and he has ways of flying with his suit. Chad says that Baymax can only be harmed by electrical attacks, which I feel is a lie, but I don't know why. Even so, Ben says Energon should have electrical properties, and most of Bumblebee's weapons are made of Energon, so it should still work here. With that and the fact that Bumblebee could hack Baymax, I think Bumblebee has this. It's such an interesting idea though. I'd be down for it happening. Although no matter what Liam says, Baymax does not get Kingdom Hearts scaling. It's just not fair. Number 4, Aang versus Captain Planet. Both are beings that can control every element who deeply care about the planets they come from. This is a blast from the past, man. I haven't seen this matchup in so long, where I do agree that I don't think this works for many reasons. I just love the idea of these two fighting. Plus, Captain Planet was awesome when I was a kid. Although I hope it's not bad now. I hope to God it's not bad now. This was the first episode they ever debated, meaning that it isn't as in-depth as we would see in the future. But it's still very fun. Ben repped Aang and Chad repped Captain Planet. They can both control all elements elements, but Captain Planet has better control of lightning where Aang can only redirect it. But Aang is by far a more skilled and experienced fighter. They can both fly, although again Captain Planet has better flight. For strength, it's hard to compare the feats they talk about. Ben brings up that Aang has bent clouds before while Captain Planet has knocked a ship back into orbit with a tree, turned sand into a giant glass bottle to contain a ship, and threw pollution into the sun. Never mind, Captain Planet seems way stronger. But I'm pretty sure Aang is way stronger than what they portrayed here. So that being said, Captain Planet wins this. They argue if Aang could bend Captain Planet's body since they think his body is made of energy. But that would be a huge assumption to make. The Avatar state can make Aang stronger, but Captain Planet can punch metal and turn it into a recycling bin. And I doubt no matter how strong Aang is, he can't resist transmutation. Aang could bend pollution to weaken Captain Planet, but Captain Planet has resisted that weakness before. Not to mention Captain Planet is immune to physical damage. The only way Aang would win this fight is if he destroyed the entire planet, which I don't think he could or would do. This is such a nostalgic blast from the past for me, but it's far from Aang's best matchup. Number 3. Froppy versus Kermit. They are both frogs? That's really the only connection I could find, so let's just move on to the debate. Ben repped Froppy and Luis repped Kermit. Obviously they are both frogs, so both are good at swimming and both can jump pretty high. Froppy could probably jump higher, but Kermit has a double jump, so we could still probably compare there. Luis went absolutely hard here. He mentioned Kermit's Toon Force, gravity manipulation, regeneration, mind manipulation with a ray gun, has a rubber ducky which he could turn himself invisible with, although Froppy could turn invisible naturally. He can block projectiles with an umbrella, has a blaster and can harm people with bubbles. Those were all arguments Luis made off the bat, and it seemed to really put Ben on the back foot for the rest of this debate. They scaled Kermit at supersonic speeds while Froppy is at lightning speeds. And the last argument for Kermit are that he could be a Jedi or Peter Pan, although it could just be acting, so I don't know if they could be used as real feats or powers, but it's still fun to think about. The only thing Ben really brought up for Froppy is that she had a 65-foot tongue, which Jesus Christ, that's long. She can climb walls, has spit that can paralyze people, and superhuman strength. I'd want to say Kermit would win this, but I think Froppy having so much battle experience while Kermit does not shakes me a little bit. I think Kermit just has too much of a busted arsenal that even Froppy couldn't get a leg up on him. Froppy is faster, but I doubt she can kill Kermit with his Toon Force. I think this is a fun matchup, but I can see why people would want Kermit to fight someone with more significance. For me though, I think this episode could be fun. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Number 2, Jake versus Amethyst. They are both shape-shifting aliens that would prefer to just laze around and do nothing, but are actually an extremely powerful being who sort of enjoys fighting and adventuring. This matchup makes too much sense. I can't believe I've never thought of this one before. This could stand out on its own even if the victor was obvious. Sam repped Jake and Ben repped Amethyst. Ben was at a natural disadvantage, because from what I believe, Jake is seen as way more powerful, but Ben held his own here. Jake is made of a rubbery, gooey substance, making him incredibly hard to hurt. He can grow larger than a mountain and stretch his body to an absurd degree. He does have a limit, but honestly, I don't think he'd stretch his body that much for this debate. Amethyst can also shapeshift, but in a different way. Her body is just made of light, so she can restructure her body to whatever form she likes. She can't make herself as big as a mountain like Jake can, but she can at least make herself larger than an ordinary person. Even if her body was destroyed, she could just rebuild it after a small amount of time has passed. Jake would need to be able to break her gem to kill her completely. Amethyst's main advantages are that she's a far more skilled fighter and she should be physically stronger. Plus, she has infinite endurance and Jake would just tire out after some time has passed. To be fair, Jake has stood in line for days, but I think it would be different if he was actually exerting himself. Jake's advantages are that he has a better control of his size. He could even Thanos Amethyst if he so desired. Although again, that wouldn't kill her. He could generate mail from his body so he can always have a food source, which is fucking disgusting. And he is just extremely hard to kill. Amethyst probably wins though. Amethyst has Sonic-like abilities, being able to spin dash and homing attack, which have been shown to tear through metal easily. She also has 2 whips which can be set on fire, meaning she most likely has the range advantage as well. She's probably also faster, but they didn't really discuss speed here. I think this is a really fun matchup, and we really need more cartoon matchups on the show. So please, do Finn and Jake versus Mordecai and Rigby. What, that's not the one I was talking about? Well, the Death Battle crew knows what their audience wants to see. This episode can come after that one releases. And number 1, Spike Spiegel versus Gene Starwind. They're both space-traveling gunslingers who have a knack for one-on-one fighting and have a bit of a habit of being cheeky to those around them. I was having trouble finding more connections, but I'm pretty sure some exist for this fight. Liam repped Spike for this, and Caden repped Gene. It's nice to see Caden. I feel like we haven't seen her in so long. Now, I have never seen Outlaw Star, but god damn did Caden make it seem like Spike is fucked. Oh, Spike has some grenades, handguns, flamethrowers, SMGs, and a Mossbag 500 cruiser? Well, so does Gene, but add a short barrel blaster, rocket launcher, and a caster gun, which can shoot fucking black holes controls and other things. I'm not sure which person is considered faster. I know Spike is probably a bullet timer and Jean can block blows from a sword that is so fast that it turns the air itself into a wind razor. I think Spike would probably be a better hand-to-hand fighter, but a more interesting conversation is based on their ships. Spike has a Swordfish, a ship that can level a town with its power and moves incredibly quickly. Jean has the Outlaw Star, which is the best ship in the universe. It has a hand that can wield axes and different types of guns. Some shoot lasers, some shoot rockets. The Outlaw Star has an AI that can autopilot the ship, a camera array that will see Spike at all times, and was able to withstand the gravity and heat of the sun. Yeah, Jean wins this. Spike only has an advantage in hand-to-hand combat, and that won't get him far in this fight. That's not even mentioning other things like the caster launcher that can shoot giant fucking dragons and blue energy that nullifies objects. Jean's arsenal is just way too powerful for Spike to contend with. Even if the Starfish is way faster, it's only a matter of time before it's shot down for good. I like this matchup, but there's a better one for Spike that I'm sure we all know and love. It was nice going down memory lane. I'll eventually start working on the next few months of the Death Battle casts, but I got some other things I want to work on first. What was your favorite matchup on this list? What was your least favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.